Henry in St. Paul. That's in Minnesota. And he says hello. Henry, good afternoon. Your turn. How are you today?
Doing all right, Doggy. Thanks for having me on. I actually watched the opening ceremonies for two reasons. Number one, I thought technologically speaking it was a beautiful presentation. But even more importantly, number two, I watched for the geopolitical ramifications of who was in the stands, i.e. the leaders of Japan, North Korea, South Korea, and the United States. And I thought it was very interesting to see how they reacted to the countries coming out. And, considering we're edging towards war with North Korea, I thought it was a pretty significant.
Did they wax poetic? I hope they didn't. Did they wax poetic on the sister of, who I guess, is got Hollywood written all over, the sister of the North Korean premier, what's his name? Young? I can't pronounce it. Kim? Did they wax? I hear NBC and everybody's gotten in some trouble there by spending too much time with her via the camera. Is that correct?
I actually felt that Katie Couric was putting down North Korea, calling out their human rights violations. That's what I remember more than anything. And the other thing that they were talking about was, the possibility of peace, and the theme of the entire event, the opening ceremony, was, give peace a chance. So, no, I don't recall them saying too much about.
All right, but again, what would draw? I'm not interested in the geopolitical thing, as it doesn't mean much to me. I don't think anything's going to result of this because North Korea sent a couple of cheerleaders 60 miles across the border because it's a PR stunt. That, to me, doesn't tell me much. I could care less that Mike Pence is there. So tell me what sport theme you got, to be fair, Henry, on Friday night.
I would say the two Koreas come together for a unified team was a very significant thing. And I think the two teammates carrying the torch up was significant. From a sports thing, yeah, I actually think that was significant.
I mean, do you think this is going to develop into something? And they haven't talked in 100 years. Now, all of a sudden, because there's an Olympiad, there's going to be a thaw between North Korea and South Korea?
I think now, because there's a threat of nuclear war, there's going to be a thaw between North and South Korea, quite frankly. And the fact that China and Japan were in attendance and clapping and standing and Mike Pence was sitting down is also significant.
Yeah, I again, I don't know what that has to do with sports, Henry. That's not going to get me to a TV set to try to figure out the look of politicians who know that the cameras are on them worldwide and they can pretend all is well. So to me, that's not going to do anything for me personally, and I'm not sitting here for 3 hours watching it. Now, again, the proof's in the pudding. Let's see what happens when the glare is off. There's no more Olympiad. And let me see some reconciliation between North and South Korea. Then you can tell me something. Let me see that without, the world stage where they got to actually do something and they both got to compromise and what have you, especially North Korea. And let's see a little disarmament with those nuclear weapons. And then we can sit there and then I can say, you know what? Maybe the Olympics maybe Thomas Bach was right. Maybe the Olympics had a little healing effect on high tensions. But I got to see that before I believe it. Here is Paul in Tallahassee, Florida. He is with us here on Mad Dog Unleashed. Paulie, good afternoon. How are you today? Are you there, Paul? Yes.
Chris, great. Hey, Chris.
I can hear you, Paul. Go ahead. What do you have for me? What's on your mind?
Hey, good. My name's Bob, not Paul.
All right, I apologize. Bob is your first name. A nice job by Eddie Erickson.
Listening to you since you've been on XM. Hey, so the opening ceremonies, I turned it on, turned it off most of the time, turned it back on to watch the Cauldron because the light into that is usually pretty cool. I was calling up because the guy who just called you, talking about the NBC game yesterday with a hockey game that was scheduled 3 weeks out. Like you said the other day when you were bringing this up last week, that it's 14 hours ahead of us. So all the finals and everything's going to be on at night, prime time, and they're going to run them between 8 and 1 o'clock.
Well, they're going to do the best they can. I mean, it's inconvenient.
So the guy,
go ahead.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. But the guy wanting to see skiing and wanting to see this stuff, you got to be aware of when this stuff's going to be on TV and watch what you want to watch. But the guy winning the silver in luge is a pretty cool sport because nobody does it. Guys are flying down the ice at 60 miles an hour. And, in the back of your head, you're thinking, man, don't crash. But it's kind of cool to see a crash now and then. But, you don't want to see that. The same thing. Now, I grew up in New England, So, skiing, we skied a lot. So, you want to see the skiing, you want to watch the skiers, and you want to watch how they're going to do, but you got to be aware of when it's going to be on the TV, too. You can't just say you came home at 2 o'clock.
I understand. All right, the last caller, you're right. Well, the last caller is also saying, Bob, to be fair, it's a Sunday afternoon. He knows it's in Korea and it's a long time difference, but he figures Sunday afternoon, let me see some Olympics, I'll take it taped. Instead, he gets Blues Penguins. A meaningless NHL, not meaningless, but an absurd in an endless regular season. It's not a Stanley Cup playoff game. It's Blues Penguins in February. I can see NBC putting on the Olympics then. Because you would figure some sports fans might watch it just to catch up on something. It's a Sunday afternoon. It's terrible weather in the Northeast. It rained like the dickens. Now, I wasn't going to do it, but maybe somebody would be out there. You know what? I'll watch the Olympics today. I can deal without Blues Penguins. Now, the thing is, you could find the Olympics if you wanted to find it. But I don't know how many of us are that wrapped up to go through our TV guide and see what's on Bravo at 4:15 on the Olympics. I can't. 17 in front of the hour here on Mad Dog Unleashed.